of Nairobi now is reported to be 400 million shillings. Madam Speaker, secondly, there's a question of the increase in the cost of public participation. I have heard my colleagues here refer only to the geographical size of the counties as one of the factors that determine or affect the cost of public participation. But you should also factor in the sort of population, the sort of population that you are governing. Because Nairobians, Madam Speaker, as my delegation member, Honorable Karen Nyamu will bear me witness, we are very woke here in Nairobi. I think that's the term that the young people are using. That every single thing you do in the name of the people of Nairobi is subject to question by the people of Nairobi, and they would want to participate. Just 2 weeks ago, Madam Speaker, the county government, because it is undertaking a program, what they're calling urban regeneration of the old city council estates, they announced public participation for about 13 of the old city council estates that are the subject of redevelopment, that they want to build new houses in these places. Madam Speaker, I had the opportunity to only attend 2 of those public participations just to see that there was effective public participation happening in those forums. I went to Ofafa Jericho in Eastlands, and I also went to Woodley Estate. Madam Speaker, the one at Ofafa Jericho was actually quite animated, and by the time I arrived there, the residents had already kicked out the people from the county who are coming to conduct public participation. So when the county assembly tells me that, in fact, the cost of public participation in Nairobi has gone up, and the nature and the need for engagement of the citizens on just about every single thing that happens in the assembly, then I actually believe them. Madam Speaker, there is also, the assembly also cited an increase in the cost of insurance, mainly driven by factors within the insurance industry, and I'm happy that the committee did capture this particular need of an additional allocation of about 30 million shillings on insurance costs in Nairobi. Madam Speaker, therefore, whereas we support the ceilings, we wish that we had done better as a Senate on the division of revenue. But let me conclude by speaking to something that the Senator for Kitui also alluded to on the question of late disbursements. It has become the song in every meeting we have at the Public Accounts Committee with county assemblies, with the county governments themselves, that in fact it looks like it is a pointless exercise for us to allocate these resources to counties, yet they actually never receive those resources, and when they receive them so late that all they do is when the money comes, it goes to payment of outstanding bills. Madam Speaker, we have had a conversation with people from Treasury, and we have asked the question, does the current National Treasury understand that it is not a national government treasury, but it is a national treasury? And you can see open bias in the manner in which these 2 levels of governments are actually financed. When we had a conversation or a meeting with the CS Treasury and his PS, I think as of the beginning of May, 2 months to the close of the financial year, about 90 billion out of the 370 billion that we had allocated to the counties in the last financial year was still undisbursed. Such a huge percentage of it, of the total allocation, is still pending. When you compare that to the 2 trillion that had been allocated to the national government, only about 20 billion was remaining, which tells you that when money hits our treasury and somebody is sitting there and saying, what are the priorities we have as a national treasury, they never consider counties as a priority. And that is the reason why we are saying we need a review. Maybe we need to even change the name. Instead of this treasury being called a national treasury, let us call it Kenya's treasury, so that these people don't get it in their head that they don't exist to serve the whims of the national government, but that in fact these 2 levels of government, after we have determined the equitable share, then when money comes in, no one arm of government should have priority over the other in terms of disbursement of those resources. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I rise to support. I hope that we can do better next year. I have seen county governments, the COG, complaining that in fact their recurrent ceilings have actually been lowered in this particular financial year. I am sure the chair of Finance and Budget has explained to them, and great explanations are going to come from them. But for me, I wish that we do more in terms of growing the basket of devolution, so that we don't have this conversation